Good morning. This is Kent Blaylock with SDG Bible Study. That's the Soli Deo Glory Bible Study coming to you on this Tuesday morning, March the 17th, 2026. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is ready for the reading of God's Word this morning. As we continue reading from the reading plan as it happened, a 1-year chronological walk through Scripture, and then Daily Doctrine, a 1-year guide to systematic theology. This morning, we're going to be in the book of Deuteronomy, 4 chapters this morning, 17 through 20. So join me as we read God's Word together. Apologize for the pups in the background. Some excited pups just came in from outside. Deuteronomy chapter 17. You shall not sacrifice to Yahweh your God an ox or a sheep which has a defect or any blemish, for that is abominable. Let me read that again. For that is an abominable thing to Yahweh your God. If there is found in your midst, in any of your gates of the towns which Yahweh your God is giving you, a man or woman who does what is evil in the sight of Yahweh your God by trespassing against his covenant, and has gone and served other gods and worshipped them, or the sun, or the moon, or any of the heavenly hosts, which I have not commanded, and if it is told to you, and you have heard of it, then you shall inquire thoroughly. Behold, if it is true, and the matter is confirmed, that this abomination has been done in Israel, then you shall bring out that man or that woman who has done this evil deed to your gates, that is, the man or the woman, and you shall stone them, and they will die. On the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses, he who is to die shall be put to death. He shall not be put to death on the mouth of 1 witness. The hand of the witnesses shall be first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. If any case is too difficult for you to judge between one kind of homicide or another, between one kind of lawsuit or another, and between one kind of assault or another, being cases of dispute in your gates, then you shall arise and go up to the place which Yahweh your God chooses. So you shall come to the Levitical priest or the judge who is in office in those days, and you shall inquire of them, and they will declare to you the judgment in the case. And you shall do according to the terms of the judgment, which they declare to you from that place which Yahweh chooses. And you shall be careful to do according to all that they teach you. According to the terms of the law which they teach you, and according to the judgments which they tell you, you shall do. You shall not turn aside word which they declare to you to the right or to the left. And the man who acts presumptuously by not listening to the priest who stands there to minister to Yahweh your God, or to the judge, that man shall die. Thus you shall purge the evil from Israel. Then all the people will hear and be afraid, and will not act presumptuously again. When you enter the land which Yahweh your God gives you, and you possess it and live in it, and you say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations who are around me, you shall surely set a king over you, whom Yahweh your God chooses. One from among your brothers you shall set as king over yourselves. Not put a foreigner over yourselves who is not your brother. Moreover, he shall not multiply horses for himself, nor shall he cause the people to return to Egypt to multiply horses. Yahweh has said to you, you shall never again return that way. And he shall not multiply wives for himself, or else his heart will turn away, nor shall he greatly increase silver and gold for himself. Now it will be when he sits on the throne of his kingdom that he shall write for himself a copy of this law on a scroll in the presence of the Levitical priest, and it shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yahweh his God, to carefully observe all the words of this law and these statutes, that his heart may not be lifted up above his brothers, and that he may not turn aside from the commandment to the right or to the left, so that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his sons in the midst of Israel. Chapter 18. The Levitical priests, the whole tribe of Levi, shall have no portion or inheritance with Israel. They shall eat of the offerings to Yahweh by fire and of his inheritance. And they shall have no inheritance among their brothers. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he promised them. Now this shall be the legal judgment for the priest taken from the people, from those who offer a sacrifice, either an ox or a sheep. They shall give to the priest the shoulder and the 2 cheeks and the stomach. You shall give him the first fruits of your grain, your new wine and your oil, and the first shearing of your sheep. For Yahweh your God has chosen him and his sons from all your tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh all the days. Now, if a Levite comes from any of your gates of the towns throughout Israel, when he sojourns and comes whenever he desires to place which Yahweh chooses, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh his God, like all his brothers, the Levites, who stand there before Yahweh. They shall eat equal portions, except what they receive from the sale of their fathers' estates. When you enter the land which Yahweh your God gives you, you shall not learn to imitate the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, one who uses divination, one who practices soothsaying, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who is an enchanter, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who inquires of the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh your God will dispossess them from before you. You shall be blameless before Yahweh your God, for those nations which you shall dispossess listen to those who practice soothsaying and to diviners. But as for you, Yahweh your God has not allowed you to do so. Yahweh your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you. From your brothers you shall listen to him. This is according to all that you ask of God. Read that again. This is according to all that you ask of Yahweh your God in Horeb on the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahweh my God. Let me not see this great fire any more, or I will die. And Yahweh said to me, they have spoken well. I will raise up a prophet from among their brothers like you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And it will be that whoever will not listen to my words, which he shall speak in my name, I myself will require it of him. But the prophet who speaks a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or which he speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. Now you may say in your heart, how will we know the word which Yahweh has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of Yahweh, if the thing does not come about or come true, that is the thing which Yahweh has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him. Chapter 19. When Yahweh your God cuts off the nations whose land Yahweh your God gives you, and you dispossess them and settle in their cities and in their houses, you shall set apart 3 cities for yourself in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your God gives you to possess. You shall prepare the roads for yourself and divide it. Read that again. And divide into 3 parts the territory of your land, which Yahweh your God will give you to inherit it, so that any manslayer may flee there. Now this is the case of the manslayer who may flee there and live, when he strikes down his friend without premeditation, not hating him previously. As when a man goes into the forest with his friend to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down the tree, and the iron head slips off the handle and strikes his friend, so that he dies. He may flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue the manslayer when his heart is angry, and overtake him, because the way is long, and strike down his life, though he was not deserving of death, since he had not hated him previously. Therefore I am commanding you, saying, you shall set apart 3 cities for yourself. Now if Yahweh your God enlarges your territory, just as he has sworn to your fathers, and gives you all the land which he promised to give to your fathers, if you be careful to do all this commandment which I am commanding you today, to love Yahweh your God, and to walk in his ways all your days, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourselves besides these three. So innocent blood will not be shed in the midst of your land, which Yahweh your God gives you as an inheritance, and blood guiltiness be on you. But if there is a man who hates his neighbor and lies in wait for him and rises up against him and strikes down his life so that he dies, and he flees to one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and take him from there and give him over into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he might die. You shall not pity him, but you shall purge the blood of the innocent from Israel, that it may go well with you. You shall not move your neighbor's boundary mark, which the ancestors have set in your inheritance, which you inherit in the land that Yahweh your God gives you to possess. A single witness shall not rise up against a man on account of any iniquity or any sin which he has committed. At the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses a matter shall be established. If a malicious witness rises up against a man to accuse him of wrongdoing, then both the men who have the dispute shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges who will be in office in those days. And the judges shall inquire thoroughly. And behold, if the witness is a false witness, and he has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him just as he intended to do to his brother. Thus you shall purge the evil from among you. And the rest will hear and be afraid, and will never again do such an evil thing among you. Thus your eye shall not show pity, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Chapter 20. If you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for Yahweh your God, who brought you up from the land of Egypt, is with you. Now it will be, when you are drawing near to the battle, the priest shall approach and speak to the people, and he shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are drawing near to the battle against your enemies today. Do not let your heart be faint, do not be afraid, nor be alarmed, nor be in dread before them. For Yahweh your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. The officers also shall speak to the people, saying, Who is the man that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. Who is the man that has planted a vineyard and has not begun to use its fruit? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man begin to use its fruit. And who is the man that is engaged to a woman and has not married her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man marry her. Then the officers shall speak further to the people and say, Who is the man that is afraid and whose heart is faint? Let him go and return to his house, so that he might not make his brother's hearts melt like his heart. Now it will be that when the officers have finished speaking to the people, they shall appoint commanders of armies at the head of the people. If you come near a city to fight against it, you shall call for terms of peace. Now it will be that if it agrees to make peace with you and opens to you, that all the people who are found in it shall become your forced labor and shall serve you. However, if it does not make peace with you, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And Yahweh your God shall give it into your hand, and you shall strike all the males in it with the edge of the sword. Only the women and the little ones and the animals and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you shall plunder for yourself, and you shall consume the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh your God has given you. Thus you shall do to all the cities that are very far from you, which are not of the cities of these nations nearby. Only in the cities of these peoples that Yahweh your God is giving you as an inheritance, you shall not leave alive anything that breathes, but you shall devote them to destruction, the Hittite and the Amorite, the Canaanite and the Perizzite, the Hivite and the Jebusite, as Yahweh your God has commanded you, so that they may not teach you to do according to all their abominations, which they have done for their gods, so that you would sin against Yahweh your God. If you besiege a city for many days to make war against it in order to capture it, you shall not destroy its trees by swinging an axe against them, for you may eat from them, and you shall not cut them down, for it is a tree of the field For is the tree of the field a man that it should be besieged by you? Only the trees which you know are not trees for food you shall destroy and cut down, that you may build siege works against the city that is making war with you until it falls. And that's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text. Now for our reading from Daily Doctrine. Day 76, Marriage. There has probably never been more confusion about the nature of marriage in the once Christian West that exists today. Thankfully, we can sketch out a basic understanding of marriage from three biblical themes: complementarity, covenant, and kids, and Christ and the church. These themes arise in turn from three biblical texts: Genesis chapter 2, verses 18 through 25, Malachi chapter 2, verses 13 through 16, and Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 to 33. Number 1, complementarity. Genesis chapter 2, verses 18 through 25. By complementarity, I don't mean everything about the roles of men and women that go under the heading complementarianism, though I believe in that ism. But complementarity, I mean that in the Genesis account, the man and the woman are uniquely fit for each other. Chapter 2, verse 18 and 20. The woman is a suitable helper for the man because only with a woman can the man fulfill the creation mandate to be fruitful and multiply. Chapter 1, verse 28. The woman is taken from man. Chapter 2, verses 21 and 22, and named in relationship to man. Chapter 2, verse 23. Since the woman was created from the side of the man, the one flesh union in marriage is really a kind of reunion. Only of this understanding of marriage do monogamy and inclusivity have a coherent moral logic. Number 2, covenant and kids. Malachi chapter 2, verses 13 through 16. Marriage is a covenant bond. Chapter 2, verse 14. As a covenant, marriage was constituted in the ancient world, and still is today, by two things: a verbal oath and a ratification sign, i.e., sexual intercourse. One of the God-given purposes in marriage is godly offspring. Chapter 2, verse 15. While it would be wrong to say procreation is the sole purpose in marriage, or that sexual intimacy is given only as a means to some reproductive end, it would also be wrong to think marriage can be properly defined without any reference to the offspring that should, and normally does, result from the one flesh union of a husband and wife. This is why the Westminster Confession, Reformed, says marriage was given in part for the increase of holy seed, and the Book of Common Prayer, Anglican, says holy matrimony was ordained for the procreation of children, and Humanae Vitae, Roman Catholic, says the unitive significance and the procreative significance are both inherent to the marriage act. Marriage is, by definition, that sort of union from which, if all the plumbing is working correctly, children can be conceived. This does not mean procreation is required for a marriage to be valid. What it does mean is that marriage, by nature, by design, and by aim, is a covenant between two persons whose one flesh commitment is the sort of union that produces offspring. And number 3, Christ and the church. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 22 to 33. The mysterious union of Christ and the church finds expression in a man and a woman becoming one flesh in Christian marriage. Notice that Paul's reference only works if there is differentiation in the marital union. It makes perfect sense that the coming together of heaven and earth in Revelations 22 and 21 and 22 is preceded by the marriage supper of the Lamb in Revelations chapter 19. Marriage was created as a picture of the fitness of heaven and earth, or as Paul puts it, of Christ and the church. The meaning of marriage is more than mutual sacrifice and covenantal commitment. The mystical union of Christ and the church, each part beginning to the other. The mystical union of Christ and the church, each part belonging to the other, but neither interchangeable, cannot be pictured in marital union without the differentiation of male and female, We cannot insert two men or two women into the logic of Ephesians 5 and get the same mystery, let alone a full-orbed picture of the gospel. That's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text this morning and from Daily Doctrine. As we learned this morning, we learned this morning about the truths of marriage from Daily Doctrine, and it's man and woman coming together in marriage, and that's the only true representation of marriage, because it's a view into Christ and the church. It's the only thing that makes sense. Hope you understand that this morning. And as we're reading in Deuteronomy, some laws being given to the children of Israel, and being told that only a prophet that prophesies in the name of the Lord should be heard. And how do you, that prophet is true? His prophecies come true. Hope you have a blessed day today. Hope you give God glory in everything that you do. Soli Deo Gloria.